Alright guys, Day Noodles here. Today we're going to be taking a look at and comparing a couple different IR lasers side by side. Alright guys, before we get too far into it, I just want to make a quick announcement that I've got both stickers and patches for sale down in the link below. Feel free to pick one up if you'd like. So from left to right here we have a couple different IR lasers. The first one here is a Steiner Otal-C. This is a single IR laser. All it is an IR laser, no illuminator, and it runs off of a AA battery and has a quick detach mount right here and a single on pressure pad momentary and then on function. The other one here is a Steiner I2 I2 single spectrum. So this is just IR. It has an IR laser and illuminator, and the function controls are here as seen, and the same quick detach mount. Now this next one is a little bit weird, a little bit unorthodox, but for the sake of demonstration and comparing, we're going to take a look at it, which is a knockoff of a Dbal A2 or a squared. This is a G&P model, I believe, mainly made for airsoft. You could probably run one on a 22 if you really wanted to, but it cannot handle any substantial recoil. And here are the functions. Quick to point out too that you can see it is just from a quick glance, it is an airsoft version because it doesn't use the same pressure pad connector right here. These have a proprietary, well, not a proprietary, but they use the standard plug that works with a PEQ-15. It's the same plug. When this Dbal uses a headphone jack, a lot smaller, and it doesn't fit in, as well as you can take a look at the mounting hardware here, which can be switched out, but when they come with a different style of mount from the original, so that's another giveaway to look at. And the finish on them aren't quite as nice if you can get your hands on them, but this is a G&P Dbal. And lastly, as I previously said, this is a PEQ-15. This is a full power PEQ. As you can see here, it's got all the functions and controls, and it uses a like a screw-in tension mount. It's not as quick detach as the previous ones, but it is a decently solid mount. So two of these units, other than the color, are similar than the other two. These two technically are full power units, so they have a laser that is over 5 milliwatts. So what that means is they are not technically eye safe, which is kind of ironic, being this is an airsoft laser. It is technically capable of causing eye damage with enough exposure. And both of these units are class 1, which means they are completely eye safe, although I do not recommend it. You can shine the lasers in your eyes and it won't cause any substantial long-lasting damage. These units are also significantly easier to get. Outside of this one, anyone can get this one, but these are a little bit harder to track down. A legitimate full power laser designator is almost impossible to get direct from a retailer or a vendor. You have to go through some other means to get them. Alright, so we're going to take a quick look at comparing all of these lasers, how they perform at approximately 100 meters. The tree line is approximately 100 yards. From left to right, we have the Steiner Otal-C, the Steiner I2 single spectrum, and then the G&P Dbal, and lastly the full power PEQ-15. As you can see, the IR pointer on the G&P Dbal and the PEQ-15 are significantly stronger than that of the other two Steiner Class 1 lasers. Here we go again at 100 meters, and the same configuration from left to right. We have the Otal-C, the I2, the G&P Dbal, and the full power PEQ-15. As you can see, they're still far brighter. Here we go once again, 100 meters in the same configuration, and as you can see, the full power PEQ on the far right has a fairly significant brighter IR illuminator, while the G&P and Steiner I2 have similar illuminators, and the Otal-C has no illuminator. So as you can see, the laser performance on these two lasers are pretty much identical, although this one doesn't have an illuminator. And as you can see, the illuminators on these two are almost identical, with the illuminator on the PEQ-15 being the most substantially bright. The IR laser, although this one is technically slightly more powerful at 45 milliwatts, this laser, I believe, clocks in around 30 milliwatts. They're both substantially brighter and look very similar under IR than these two, which are around 5 at the maximum. So although I don't have it on the table with me right now for a quick look over, I do have some footage of a B.E. Myers Mol DA, and it's comparing next to this PEQ-15, so you can take a look at how well it performs next to a PEQ-15. I do want to make note that the IR illuminator does wash out the IR laser, so the laser does seem comparable to this, although it is more than twice as powerful. Right here we have a full power PEQ-15. Right next to it on the left we have a full power Mol DA. PEQ-15 on the right, Mol DA on the left, out to approximately 75 yards. Once again, PEQ-15 on the right, Mol DA on the left. Fucking laser beams. So as you can see, there is a pretty substantial performance difference between a civilian Class 1 laser and a legitimate Class 3 laser, disregarding the knockoff unit here. These are the three you'd really want to consider for mounting on a weapon that I have in front of me right now. With this being the most budgeted option, you can find these secondhand for around $200, $250, and retailing new, I've seen them as low as $300, $320, with the I2 single spectrum coming in at around $700 new, and I've seen them around $600 to $500 on the secondhand market. PEQ-15s are a little bit more difficult because they're almost impossible to get new and completely relegated to the secondhand market for the most part, and they will retail anywhere between $2,000 down to $1,500 depending on the condition. You can get a beat up one for relatively cheap when the Otal-C, which is the civilian version, retails new around $1,300, and I've seen those around $1,000 secondhand. Although I will say for first-hand experience that the performance of a Steiner Class 1 unit far exceeds the performance of a L3/EOTech Class 1 unit like the Otal-C. But the ergonomics of the Otal body and the weight is more preferable to me than something like the Steiner units, especially when you look at the A3 and other things. They're a little bit more blocky, a little bit harder for me to get consistently push the button if I'm not going to use a pressure pad. And like I said, all of these units use the same pressure pad. It will function and click into all of them. Some of them a little bit more securely than others. Get the most positive lock with the PEQ-15. Next comes the I2, and lastly the Otal. Although it'll work, it's not the most secure, but it's not going to pop out without anything pulling on it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to check out my store for a patch or sticker, and don't forget to like, comment down below, and subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions about any of these units, and I'll see you next time.